Another Monday, another weekly team meeting with her micromanaging supervisor, Patricia. 3 minutes to compose herself before facing the weekly barrage of unrealistic expectations. Hannah took a sip of her lukewarm coffee, adjusted her navy blazer, and clicked the Zoom link from her calendar. The screen flickered to life, but instead of the familiar faces of her marketing team, she found herself staring at a solitary figure, a man with sharp blue eyes, dark hair with distinguished silver at the temples, and an expression of mild surprise. This definitely wasn't her 9 a.m. marketing meeting. "I'm so sorry," Hannah stammered, her finger already moving to disconnect. "Wrong meeting." "Stay," the man said, his voice carrying an unmistakable note of authority. "I was waiting for you." Hannah froze, finger hovering over the disconnect button. "Excuse me?" The man leaned forward slightly, his bespoke suit jacket shifting with the movement. "You're Hannah Mitchell, aren't you? From Crawford Marketing." Her heart skipped a beat. How did this stranger know her name? A quick glance at the meeting details made her stomach drop. This was William Blackwell's meeting. As in William Blackwell, CEO of Blackwell Industries, the parent company that had acquired Crawford Marketing just 3 months ago. "Mr. Blackwell, I apologize for the intrusion. There must be some mistake with my calendar," Hannah explained, mentally cataloguing which co-worker she'd need to throttle for this mix-up. "No mistake, Ms. Mitchell. I specifically requested this meeting," he replied, his expression unreadable. "Though I expected my assistant to inform you properly." Hannah's mind raced through possibilities. Was she being fired? Had her recent presentation on digital marketing strategies somehow caught the CEO's attention, and not in a good way? "Your proposal on restructuring the digital marketing division was interesting," William continued, studying her reaction. Hannah felt the blood drain from her face. That proposal had been confidential, a draft she'd created after hours, frustrated by the inefficiencies she witnessed daily. She'd only shared it with her friend in IT, Jessica, asking for feedback. It was never meant for executive eyes. "How did you—" she began. "It came across my desk yesterday," William interrupted, "though not through conventional channels." A notification pinged and William glanced away briefly. "I've just granted access to one more person who should be joining us." The meeting chime sounded, and Hannah's screen adjusted to accommodate a third participant, David Reynolds, the marketing director, and her boss's boss. His usually friendly face looked tense. "Mr. Blackwell, I apologize for the delay," David said formally before nodding in Hannah's direction. "Hannah." "Now that we're all here, let's begin," William said, straightening a stack of papers on his desk. "Ms. Mitchell, I'd like you to walk us through your proposal." Hannah swallowed hard. "Sir, that document was just a personal exercise. It wasn't meant to—" "15 minutes, Ms. Mitchell," William interrupted gently but firmly. "Consider this your opportunity to defend your ideas." With shaking hands, Hannah opened the document on her computer. What choice did she have? She began explaining her vision for restructuring the digital marketing division, gaining confidence as she spoke about more efficient team configurations, elimination of redundant approval processes, and integration of advanced analytics. As she spoke, she noticed William taking notes, his expression inscrutable. David's face had transitioned from tense to thoughtful, occasionally nodding at certain points. "Your assessment of our current inefficiencies is remarkably accurate," William commented when she finished, "though I wonder about the impact on our more traditional clients." "I've considered that," Hannah replied, finding her voice. "Page 12 outlines a transition strategy that maintains dedicated resources for traditional marketing channels while gradually introducing clients to digital options that could enhance their results." William flipped through his printout, finding the section. One eyebrow raised slightly, the closest thing to approval she'd seen yet. "David," William addressed the marketing director, "your thoughts?" David cleared his throat. "It's bold, certainly. Some of these changes would mean significant restructuring, but—" He paused. "The projected outcomes are compelling. I'm particularly interested in the client retention strategy Hannah's outlined." The conversation continued for another 30 minutes, with William probing deeper into specific aspects of her proposal. Hannah felt like she was defending a dissertation, but with every answer, her confidence grew. "Thank you, David," William finally said. "Would you mind if I speak with Ms. Mitchell privately for a moment?" David nodded and disappeared from the screen, leaving Hannah alone with the CEO once more. Her stomach tightened with anticipation. "Ms. Mitchell, William began, setting aside his notes. I've been concerned about our digital marketing division since the acquisition. Your proposal addresses nearly every issue I've identified, plus several I hadn't considered. Thank you, sir, Hannah replied cautiously. I have a proposition for you, William continued. I'm assembling a special task force to implement changes across all our marketing divisions. I need someone with fresh ideas and the courage to present them, even when they might not be welcomed. Hannah's mind reeled. Was this really happening? The role would report directly to me, William added. You'd be working alongside executives with decades of experience, and yes, some of them will resist your ideas simply because you're younger and newer to the industry. I'm used to that, Hannah said, before she could stop herself. A slight smile crossed William's face, the first she'd seen. I suspect you are. The question is, are you interested? Before Hannah could respond, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. Jessica. She ignored it. I am interested, Hannah confirmed, though I'd need to understand more about the scope and expectations. Of course, William nodded. My assistant will set up a proper meeting to discuss details. He glanced at something off-screen. She's actually trying to reach you right now. Hannah's phone buzzed again with a text message from an unknown number. Mr. Blackwell's office here. Please call when you're available. One question, Hannah said, gathering her courage. How did my proposal actually reach you? William's expression became more measured. Let's just say I make it a point to identify talent wherever it exists in my organization, even when it's hidden in unsent draft folders on company servers. A chill ran down Hannah's spine. Had he been monitoring employee files? Before she could formulate a response, William continued. I look forward to working with you, Ms. Mitchell. My assistant will be in touch with next steps. With a nod, he ended the meeting. Hannah sat back in her chair, heart pounding. Her phone immediately rang again. Jessica. Hannah, Jessica exclaimed when she answered. You'll never believe what happened. Someone accessed your draft proposal from my computer last week. I just found out this morning. There's been some kind of security audit and... It's okay, Jess, Hannah interrupted, still processing everything. I just had a meeting with William Blackwell. He's offering me a position on a special task force. The CEO, Jessica whispered. That's... Wow. But Hannah, that's not all. The person who accessed your proposal. It wasn't Blackwell or IT or anyone from upper management. Hannah's excitement faltered. Then who was it? According to the logs, it was Patricia, your boss. Hannah felt the room spin slightly. Patricia, who had shot down every innovative idea Hannah had presented in team meetings. Patricia, who took credit for Hannah's work on the Johnson campaign. Patricia, who had been notably absent from this morning's team meeting. Her phone pinged with an email notification, a meeting request from William Blackwell's office for tomorrow morning, with a pre-meeting dinner tonight to discuss her vision for the future of digital marketing at Blackwell Industries. Something didn't add up. Why would Patricia send her proposal upward? And why would the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company take such immediate interest in a mid-level marketing specialist's unsent draft? As Hannah reached for her now cold coffee, her computer chimed with another incoming email from Patricia. The subject line sent another chill through her. We need to talk now. Hannah stared at Patricia's email for a full minute before opening it. The message was brief but ominous. My office, 10 a.m. This is not optional. She had exactly 45 minutes to prepare for whatever storm was brewing. Hannah sent a quick acknowledgement and then called Jessica back. Tell me everything you know, Hannah said without preamble. The security logs show Patricia accessed your files last Tuesday, Jessica explained. She downloaded your proposal and emailed it to her personal account. Then yesterday, that same document was forwarded to William Blackwell from an anonymous email address. Anonymous? How is that possible on the company system? It wasn't sent through the company system, Jessica replied, her voice dropping. It was sent through a Proton Mail account. Untraceable. Hannah paced her small home office, mind racing. So, Patricia stole my work but then sent it anonymously to the CEO. That doesn't make sense. If she wanted credit, she would have put her name on it. Unless she didn't want credit, Jessica suggested. What if she wanted to get you in trouble? The thought had crossed Hannah's mind. Sending an unsolicited restructuring plan that eliminated several management positions, including potentially Patricia's, could easily be framed as insubordination. But that backfired spectacularly, Hannah murmured. Blackwell liked it. Speaking of which, Jessica continued, there's something else you should know about William Blackwell. He has a reputation for testing people. Testing how? Mind games, unexpected scenarios, throwing people into high-pressure situations to see how they react, Jessica explained. My friend works at his headquarters in Chicago, says Blackwell once fired an entire management team and had junior staff run things for a week just to see what would happen. Hannah's stomach tightened. So this could all be some elaborate test? Or an opportunity, Jessica countered. Either way, you should be careful with Patricia. She's been acting weird since the acquisition. Closed-door meetings, hushed phone calls, something's up. Hannah glanced at the clock, 9:30 a.m. I have to go. I'll call you after I meet with Patricia. Good luck, Jessica said. And Hannah, watch your back. Hannah spent the next 20 minutes researching William Blackwell, uncovering a complex portrait of a business leader with a brilliant strategic mind and unconventional management style. At 42, he'd transformed his father's struggling manufacturing business into a diversified corporate empire through a series of bold acquisitions. Former employees described him as demanding but fair, innovative but calculating. One interview particularly caught her attention. When asked about his hiring philosophy, Blackwell had said, I don't hire people for what they know. I hire them for how they think. Anyone can learn systems and processes. I need people who can see beyond what exists to what could be. At precisely 9:55 a.m., Hannah stood outside Patricia's office, straightening her blazer one last time before knocking. Come in, Patricia's voice sounded strained. Hannah entered to find her boss standing by the window, tension evident in her rigid posture. At 45, Patricia Collins had built her career on playing it safe and following rules. Her office reflected this mindset. Everything organized with military precision, not a paper out of place. Sit down, Hannah, Patricia said without turning around. Hannah complied, waiting silently as Patricia seemed to gather her thoughts. I received a call from David Reynolds this morning, Patricia finally said, turning to face Hannah. Apparently you had quite the meeting with William Blackwell. It was unexpected, Hannah replied carefully. Patricia's laugh held no humor. Unexpected. Yes, I imagine finding yourself in a meeting with the CEO would be unexpected. She sat down across from Hannah. What exactly did you discuss? My proposal for restructuring the digital marketing division, Hannah answered truthfully, watching Patricia's reaction closely. A flicker of something, anger, fear, crossed Patricia's face before her professional mask returned. A proposal you never shared with your direct supervisor. It was just a personal exercise, Hannah explained, repeating what she'd told William. I never intended for it to be circulated. And yet somehow, it found its way to William Blackwell. Patricia's knuckles whitened as she gripped her armrest. Do you know what your little exercise suggests? It suggests eliminating my position entirely. Hannah remained silent, unsure how to respond. 3 months ago, we were an independent agency, Patricia continued, her voice rising slightly. Now we're just another acquisition, fighting for resources and relevance within Blackwell Industries. Some of us have been working tirelessly to prove our value to the new ownership. I understand that. No, you don't, Patricia snapped. You've been here, what, 2 years? I've dedicated 15 years to building Crawford Marketing, 15 years of sacrifices you couldn't begin to comprehend. The bitterness in Patricia's voice surprised Hannah. Beneath the rigid exterior was a woman genuinely afraid for her future. I didn't send the proposal to Mr. Blackwell, Hannah said quietly. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Then who did? According to IT, you downloaded it from my drafts folder and forwarded it to your personal email. Patricia's face paled slightly before flushing with anger. You're having me investigated? How dare you? I didn't, Hannah began, but Patricia cut her off. Let me be very clear. If you think cozying up to Blackwell will save you when the inevitable cuts come, you're sorely mistaken. He's not known for his loyalty to employees. The conversation was derailing rapidly. Hannah decided to change tactics. Patricia, I have no interest in taking your job or undermining your position. My proposal was about making our division more efficient, not about eliminating experienced leadership. Patricia studied Hannah for a long moment. You've been offered a position on his task force, haven't you? Hannah nodded reluctantly. And you're meeting him for dinner tonight, Patricia added, confirming she somehow knew about the invitation Hannah had only received an hour ago. Yes. Patricia leaned back in her chair, something calculating replacing the anger in her expression. Then perhaps we can help each other. What do you mean? Blackwell values information, specifically information about what's really happening in his companies, not just what executives tell him. That's why your proposal caught his attention. It highlighted inefficiencies others have been concealing. Hannah waited, sensing there was more. I have information that would be very valuable to him, Patricia continued. Information about certain accounting irregularities at Crawford that predated the acquisition, but continue to this day. Hannah felt a chill. You want me to be your informant? I want us to form an alliance, Patricia corrected. You have Blackwell's ear. I have information he needs. Together we could not only secure our positions, but potentially advance them. And if I refuse? Patricia's smile didn't reach her eyes. Then I'll be forced to protect myself by whatever means necessary. Including sharing some concerning emails you sent disparaging Blackwell Industries during the acquisition process. Hannah remembered those venting sessions with Jessica. Unprofessional, perhaps, but hardly scandalous. That sounds like blackmail. That sounds like business, Patricia countered. You have until tomorrow morning to decide. Hannah stood, recognizing the dismissal. As she reached the door, Patricia added, One more thing. Your friend in IT, Jessica, isn't it? She should be more careful about accessing security logs. That kind of unauthorized snooping is grounds for immediate termination. The threat was unmistakable. Hannah left without another word, her mind whirling with implications. On her way back to her office, her phone chimed with a text from an unknown number. Car will pick you up at 7 p.m. for dinner with Mr. Blackwell. Business casual. Claire Donovan, executive assistant. The rest of the day passed in a blur of meetings and preparations. Hannah cancelled her evening plans with Ryan, her boyfriend of 6 months, who took the news with surprising irritation. Another rain check, he complained. That's the third time this month. This is important, Ryan, Hannah explained, keeping her voice low as colleagues passed her office. It's dinner with the CEO. It's always something important with you, Ryan sighed. Your career always comes first. The familiar argument threatened to unfold again. Ryan's landscaping business operated on a strict 9-to-5 schedule, and he struggled to understand Hannah's professional ambition. She didn't have time to navigate his insecurities today. We'll talk tomorrow, she promised before ending the call. At 6:30 p.m., Hannah surveyed herself in her hallway mirror. She'd chosen a sleek black dress with a tailored burgundy blazer, professional yet confident. Her normally wavy brown hair was smoothed into a simple updo, and she'd added pearl earrings that had belonged to her grandmother. As she applied a final touch of lipstick, her phone rang. Jessica. I just got called into HR, Jessica said without greeting. Someone reported me for improper system access. Hannah closed her eyes briefly. Patricia. Has to be. They've suspended my access pending investigation. I'm so sorry, Jess. Not your fault, Jessica replied, though her voice was tight with stress. But whatever's happening here goes deeper than office politics, Hannah. Be careful tonight with Blackwell. The buzzing of Hannah's apartment intercom interrupted them. The car had arrived. I have to go, Hannah said. I'll call you later. As the sleek black car pulled away from her apartment building, Hannah felt like she was being carried towards something much bigger and more complicated than a simple dinner meeting. Patricia's threats, Jessica's warning, Blackwell's mysterious interest in her work. None of it quite added up. Her phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. Good luck tonight. Sorry about earlier. Love you. At least one thing in her life was straightforward, Hannah thought, as she texted back a quick thanks. Or was it? Even that relationship had been strained lately, with Ryan's increasing resentment of her career focus. As the car approached one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, Hannah squared her shoulders. Whatever game was being played, she refused to be just a pawn in it. The restaurant was exactly what Hannah expected for a CEO's dining choice. Understated elegance with private alcoves for discreet conversation. The maitre d' led her through the dimly lit space to a secluded table in the back, where William Blackwell was already seated, studying something on his tablet. He stood when he saw her, his imposing height accentuated by impeccable posture. Ms. Mitchell, he greeted, gesturing to the chair across from him. Thank you for joining me on such short notice. Thank you for the invitation, Mr. Blackwell, Hannah replied, settling into her seat and fighting the urge to fidget under his scrutiny. William, please, he insisted, closing his tablet. Work formalities seem unnecessary for dinner. A server appeared immediately, pouring water and presenting wine menus. After they ordered, William selecting a bottle of Pinot Noir that cost more than Hannah's monthly car payment, he leaned back slightly, studying her with those penetrating blue eyes. "You've had quite the day, I imagine," he said. Hannah chose her words carefully. "It's been eventful." A hint of amusement crossed his face. "I'd like to hear about your conversation with Patricia Collins." Hannah nearly choked on her water. "You know about that? I make it my business to know what happens in my companies," William replied, his tone matter-of-fact. "Especially when it involves someone I'm considering for a significant position." The wine arrived, temporarily pausing their conversation. After it was poured and the server departed, Hannah took a fortifying sip before responding. "Patricia is concerned about what my proposal might mean for her position," she said diplomatically. "And she threatened you," William stated rather than asked. "Probably something involving old emails or messages that could be taken out of context." Hannah stared at him, unsettled by his accuracy. "How could you possibly know that?" "Because Patricia Collins has used the same tactics on 3 other employees in the past 2 months, William replied, his expression hardening slightly. "It's a predictable move for someone trying to protect their territory." "She also mentioned accounting irregularities at Crawford," Hannah added, watching his reaction carefully. "Predating the acquisition." Something flickered in William's eyes. Surprise, perhaps, or confirmation of a suspicion. "Did she offer details?" "No. She positioned it as information she'd share if I agreed to an alliance." William nodded slowly. "Interesting. And what did you tell her?" "Nothing yet. She gave me until tomorrow to decide." "Wise," he commented, taking a sip of his wine. "Never rush important decisions." Their meals arrived. Seared scallops for Hannah, steak for William, and the conversation shifted to more general topics. William asked about her background, education, and career path. Hannah found herself relaxing slightly as she described her journey from marketing student to digital specialist. "What brought you to Crawford specifically?" William asked as they finished their entrees. "Honestly, their work-life balance policies," Hannah admitted. "I had offers from larger agencies, but they all expected 60-hour weeks as standard. Crawford promised reasonable hours and remote work flexibility." "And has that held true?" "Mostly," Hannah nodded, "though things have been more intense since the acquisition." "Because of uncertainty or increased workload?" "Both," Hannah replied. "Plus the cultural shift. Crawford was family-owned, very collaborative. Blackwell Industries is more hierarchical." William raised an eyebrow. "You're not afraid to be direct, are you?" "I find it saves time," Hannah said, immediately wondering if she'd gone too far. To her surprise, William laughed, a genuine sound that transformed his serious face. "I agree completely. Directness is undervalued in corporate America." As dessert was served, William steered the conversation toward her proposal. "What inspired it? Most employees at your level don't spend their free time redesigning organizational structures." Hannah considered her answer. "Frustration, initially. I kept encountering the same bottlenecks. Approvals that took weeks, resources split across competing priorities, teams working in silos. The acquisition added new layers of complexity without addressing existing problems." "So you decided to solve it yourself?" "I decided to think through what might work better," Hannah clarified. "I never intended it to be implemented. It was just a thought exercise." William studied her for a moment. "That thought exercise identified inefficiencies that 3 separate consulting firms missed in their post-acquisition analysis. You have good instincts, Hannah." The compliment caught her off guard. "Thank you." "Now about the task force," William continued. "It's not just about reorganizing marketing. It's about integrating Crawford's strengths into Blackwell's broader strategy while eliminating redundancies." "Eliminating redundancies," Hannah repeated carefully. "You mean laying people off?" William didn't flinch. "Some positions will be eliminated, yes. That's the reality of acquisitions, but talent will be reassigned where possible." "And Patricia's position? That depends partly on what you discover about these accounting irregularities she mentioned," William replied, his expression turning serious. "Which brings me to the real reason for this dinner." Hannah set down her dessert fork, suddenly alert. "I need someone on the inside of Crawford's leadership team," William explained. "Someone who can access information without raising suspicions, someone people trust and confide in." Understanding dawned on Hannah. You want me to spy for you? I prefer to think of it as conducting due diligence that should have happened before the acquisition, William corrected smoothly. There are discrepancies in Crawford's financial reporting that my team has flagged. Nothing definitively illegal, but concerning enough to warrant deeper investigation. Hannah felt her earlier unease returning. Why me? Why not use your internal audit team? Because an official audit would alert the very people we're concerned about, William explained, and because you've already demonstrated you can see problems others miss. So the task force position is genuine, William assured her, but it also provides the perfect cover for you to access information across departments. You'll report officially to David Reynolds, but you'll share your findings about these potential irregularities directly with me. Hannah's mind raced. The opportunity was extraordinary, but the ethical implications troubled her. What if I find nothing irregular? Then Crawford's books are clean, and you'll have still contributed valuable insights to the task force, William replied. This isn't about manufacturing evidence, Hannah. It's about finding the truth. She considered his words. And if I decline this particular aspect of the role, William studied her for a moment, the task force position remains yours if you want it. I don't pressure people into ethical compromises. That creates liabilities, not assets. But I think you're curious enough to want to know what's really happening at Crawford. He wasn't wrong. The accountant in Hannah, her first major before switching to marketing, was already analyzing possibilities. I need to think about it, she finally said. Of course, take tonight to consider. William signaled for the check. I'll need your answer at our official meeting tomorrow. As they waited for the car that would take Hannah home, William added, one last thing. Trust no one with this information. Not friends, not colleagues, not significant others. Corporate espionage is more common than you might think. The ride home gave Hannah time to process the evening's revelations. William Blackwell wasn't just testing her with the proposal. He was recruiting her for something that walked a fine line between corporate investigation and industrial espionage. The career opportunity was undeniable, but at what cost to her integrity? When she arrived home just after 10 p.m., she was surprised to find Ryan's car parked outside her apartment building. They didn't have plans, and he rarely showed up unannounced. She found him sitting on her couch, scrolling through his phone. He looked up when she entered, his expression uncharacteristically serious. How was dinner with the big boss, he asked, his tone just slightly off. Interesting, Hannah replied cautiously. What brings you here? Ryan stood, pocketing his phone. Can't I surprise my girlfriend? Of course, Hannah said, setting down her purse. It's just unusual for a weeknight. Ryan approached, kissing her briefly. You look beautiful. That dress is new, isn't it? I bought it last month, Hannah replied, increasingly puzzled by his behavior. Ryan, is everything okay? Just missed you, he said, wandering toward her kitchen. Want some wine? I brought that red you like. As Ryan opened the bottle, Hannah noticed his hands were slightly unsteady. Something was definitely wrong. How's the landscaping project at the Wilsons going? She asked, trying to ease into normal conversation. Ryan paused mid-pour. It's fine. Almost done. He handed her a glass. Tell me about Blackwell. Is he as intimidating as they say? He's intense, Hannah replied carefully. But fair, I think. And this new position he's offering sounds like a big opportunity. Hannah's internal alarms began to sound. She hadn't told Ryan any details about the task force. How did you know about that? Ryan's expression shifted, almost imperceptibly. You mentioned it earlier, remember, when you cancelled our plans. I said I was having dinner with the CEO, Hannah corrected. I never mentioned a new position. The atmosphere in the room changed instantly. Ryan set down his untouched wineglass. Patricia called me, he admitted. She said you were being considered for a promotion and wanted to surprise you with a celebration dinner. She asked what time you'd be home. Hannah felt cold dread settling in her stomach. Ryan, I never gave Patricia your number. She said she got it from HR.